Welcome to Strange, revealing strange stories of the paranormal, bizarre coincidence, and unexplained phenomena. I'm Chris Batchelor, thank you for listening. And a special thank you to everyone who's found us online at strangepodcast.com, followed us on Twitter, and left a review about the show on iTunes. In episode 5, my intention was to turn our focus onto the most famous maritime mystery, that of the Mary Celeste. However, in researching this bizarre and unsettling true story, I've come across countless other tales of inexplicably abandoned and drifting ghost ships. So in this episode, we take an overview of a few of the most mysterious. You may believe you know the story of the Mary Celeste, a mysterious drifting vessel with no sign of its captain or crew. All clocks stopped, hot meals and drinks still steaming, and no sign of any kind of disturbance. The crew seemingly just vanished. This story has been added to by generations of campfire storytellers and made famous by one of Britain's most successful writers, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. But there's a bit more to this story that just adds to the mystery. On the afternoon of December the 5th, 1872, halfway between the Azores and the Portuguese coast, a brigantine vessel was spotted by Captain Morehouse. He recognised it to be the Mary Celeste. He knew Captain Briggs of the Mary Celeste. He was puzzled to see the ship yawing, coming into the wind and then falling off. She was out of control. He knew Captain Briggs to be a good seaman. There were no distress signals, and after watching for 2 hours and hailing her and getting no response, a small team set off and duly boarded her. The vessel was found to be in good seaworthy condition, and the general impression was that the crew had left in a great hurry. They had left behind their oilskin boots and pipes. Captain Morehouse's explanation was that they had left in a panic, thinking the vessel to be sinking. The chronometer and sextant were not to be found on board. The lifeboat was missing, and strangely, a rope was found trailing behind the Mary Celeste for some meters. There have been many theories put forward to explain the disappearance of the experienced captain and crew. Mutiny, but why take the smaller lifeboat and not the main larger vessel? Pirates, however, no sign of a struggle or damage could be found. Captain Morehouse lied, killing all on board and hoping to take the Mary Celeste as salvage. However, Morehouse and Captain Briggs were friends, dining together just days before the Mary Celeste set sail. Of course, the theory of alien abduction and countless other supernatural and paranormal causes have been put forward. Or could the captain and crew of the Mary Celeste have experienced a seaquake, causing them to panic and leave the vessel? Of course, this most famous maritime mystery will remain, for now at least, unexplained. The true story of the Beichimo is one of the strangest and most mysterious ghost ship stories. Amazingly, the latest confirmed sighting of the Beichimo was a report that spotted it drifting 37 years after she was left abandoned. On October the 1st, 1931, the Beichimo was making a return trip to Vancouver. She completed a run to Victoria Island, and her hold was stuffed with furs. Unfortunately for Captain John Cornwell and the crew, winter arrived sooner than expected, with freezing temperatures, strong winds, and a threat of blizzards. The Beichimo became stuck fast in pack ice, and the crew were helpless to do anything except wait. By October the 15th, the Hudson Bay Company, the owners of the ship, sent aeroplanes to rescue 22 of the crew, but the captain and 14 other crew members stayed behind, building a shelter on the ice. Imagine their surprise when they awoke on November the 25th, the morning after a terrible blizzard, to find the Bachimo gone. As time passed, the Hudson Bay Company continued to receive reports from eyewitnesses who had seen the drifting ghost ship. By 1939, scores of sightings were reported. She was repeatedly sighted all across the Arctic, drifting aimlessly at sea. However, no one was able to catch up to Bachimo, which continued to uncannily elude pursuit. The last sighting occurred in 1969, 37 years after she was left abandoned. Despite recent searches, the ship's ultimate fate remains unknown. The Marlborough was an iron-built two-decked merchant sailing ship which disappeared in 1890. In October 1913, the Singapore newspaper, the Straits Times, published a story according to which the Marlborough had been discovered near Cape Horn with the skeletons of a crew on board. This means the ship was eventually found 23 years after it disappeared. The report claims in 1913 a shipwreck was discovered by another crew in Punta Arenas, Chile. They boarded the ship and discovered it to be the Marlborough, which had run aground onto an extremely craggy island. 2 crew members that boarded the ship reported that they were horrified at what they found. All in all, about 20 skeletons were found on board and in a lot of different locations. One was found alone directly under the wheel, and another one found alone on the bridge, with 5 more nearby. No less than 3 skeletons were found by a ladder leading below deck. The largest group found in a single area consisted of 10 skeletons in what's known as the mess room. Allegedly, there was no evidence of foul play, which makes the placement of the skeletons extremely baffling. They obviously died at the same time, because you wouldn't leave dead bodies just lying around the ship. The Copenhagen, when launched, was the world's largest sailing ship. Its sails stood over 5 stories high. From 1921 to 1928, the ship made 9 voyages, visiting nearly every continent and completing 2 circumnavigations. On September 21, 1928, the Copenhagen departed from northern Jutland for Buenos Aires on its 10th and ultimately final voyage. The captain was the very experienced Hans Andersen. 75 persons were on board, including 26 crew and 45 cadets. The goal was to unload a shipload of chalk and bagged cement, then take another load onto Melbourne, and then bring a shipment from Australia back to Europe. The ship's departure from Buenos Aires was delayed due to a financial disagreement. Finally, on December the 14th, almost a month after arriving, Captain Andersen decided to ship out for Australia without the cargo. The voyage was expected to take 45 days. On December the 22nd, the Copenhagen exchanged radio messages with the Norwegian steamer William Bloomer, indicating that all was well. The Bloomer attempted to contact the Copenhagen again later that night, but to no avail. Due to the length of the voyage to Australia and the fact that Andersen routinely went long periods without sending a message, the Danish owners of the ship were not initially worried about the silence from the vessel. However, as months passed without word, they became concerned, and in April 1929, the Danish East Asiatic Company dispatched a motor vessel to search for the Copenhagen. They received reports that a large 5-masted ship with its foremast broken was seen on January the 21st, 1929. However, it had not attempted to come inland. Mexico joined the British Royal Navy and searched for the Copenhagen for several months, but found no sign. The Danish government declared the ship and its crew were lost at sea. For the next few weeks after the Copenhagen's disappearance, there were a number of sightings of a mysterious 5-masted ship fitting its description, seen adrift in the Pacific. In July 1930, the crew of an Argentine freighter sighted a 5-masted phantom ship during a gale. The captain took their statements and wondered if this is the wrath of the Copenhagen. Further sightings came in the following weeks and months from Easter Island and across the Peruvian coast. Later, some wreckage, including a piece of stern bearing the name Copenhagen, reportedly was found off West Australia. If you'd like to make a comment about what you've heard in this episode, you can on the episode page at strangepodcast.com. There you'll also find interesting links to the resources and evidence featured in this episode. And don't forget you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter by going to strangepodcast.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.